So, hello and welcome. Hello and welcome, everybody who's watching us live today. We're streaming live across LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. My name is Chris Armbruster. I am here for the AI Guild. And with me today is Florens Greßner, who co founded Neurocat, a Berlin based startup looking at the risk evaluation of machine learning systems a few years ago. And today is the CEO of the company. Hello, welcome, Florens.
Hi, Chris. Nice to meet you.
So, Florens, the first question I always like to ask is, data. Why data? How did you get into? How did your interest in data start, and you moved to a data career?
Yeah, like I studied mathematics and also to the side a little bit of computer science, and I was diving very deeply in the abstracts of the mathematics to number theory and abstract nonsense. And basically, I figured out that this is way too abstract and has nothing to do with reality. And in the same time, this hype of AI was coming up, and I was very impressed and inspired by the paper that lets a reinforcement learning agent play Atari. And I found this so wonderful and so inspiring that I wanted to do something applied. I had all the knowledge in statistics and probability, and I really didn't want to lose the opportunity to get into it. And this inspired me, and this is with my background as a mathematician, went into this direction.
You just mentioned Atari. So, do you also game? Are you a gamer?
Yes, I also have some retro game consoles at home, but I don't really play like the newest games. I just played like these very old.
That's why the thing about Atari got to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's really
I,
just speaking. Yeah.
I was looking for the connection. Okay, so you like old games, so to speak, and then AI is a new topic. You were studying mathematics. What about programming? What about coding?
Yeah, coding. I started also in school to code. I really did this also in my free time. This was like a very nice hobby of mine. And also in the mathematics studies, I was able to program some mathematical concepts. But this was not enough for me. I also wanted to learn more about software engineering and this direction. So I also had the opportunity because I was starting to study math already in school because I had like a special focus. I was in a special focus school. And so because I had some uni courses already in school done, I had some free time to also study informatics. Yeah.
Thank you. So from what you're speaking and also looking at you, it's obvious that you're younger, right? So and it's also interesting because actually Neurocat is the first thing that you did, and you've now become its CEO. So tell me a little bit about that journey. How did this happen for you?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. My CV is quite short. I guess the only job I had before was grilling sausages in a football stadium. And then when studying math, I wanted to really find my border of what I'm able to comprehend, and I guess I successfully did it by going deeper and deeper into abstracts of algebra and number theory and so on. And in the end, I was even dreaming abstract. So I really this is a really weird feeling. And I just woke up and thought, okay, I have to do something in the real life because this is done nothing. This doesn't bring anything to me. And yeah, with a friend, we always wanted to found something. So basically, then we slowly started, and I in parallel studied mathematics still, but I really couldn't motivate myself to write an exam and all this kind of stuff because in the real world and in the industry, I learned so much more and so much more valuable stuff that really helps people. That I couldn't spend a minute more to think about all this abstract nonsense and write another exam because in the end, this doesn't bring me anything and this doesn't help anyone if you learn things that are not of use to you.
Okay, so you said that working on Neurocat and probably working in the early days there, I saw that you were involved in the original coding and product development. So what tools did you use? How did you learn? Are you using Python? How did you get proficient at this? I mean, mathematics doesn't teach you Python, does it? So how did you do this?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, no, mathematics doesn't teach you Python. That's true. But if you love something and if you pursue something, then you have to learn what's necessary in order to succeed. And also in Python, we started like really with spaghetti code and like things that are not really reusable. And more, I had to face that they also have to learn about architecture, that they have to learn about software engineering. And then we grew and we were quite successful also in the industry. And we're able to code something for different companies. And in the end, you have to learn what's necessary to be successful. And if you are passionate enough, and then you can adapt. And if you dedicate your time accordingly.
Understood. So basically on-the-job training.
Yes, on-the-job training.
And then you did study mathematics for a while. And of course, when we're talking about, we're talking statistics, we're talking applied mathematics, we're talking modeling, model accuracy, and so on and so on. So how relevant for you is your mathematical interest or background in what you're doing today?
I guess it's very relevant. Also, why we started was like in mathematics, you get taught everything like from the ground on, and everything you have a real proof of that. And in machine learning, what I was missing is that there was a lot of heuristics involved and a lot of voodoo. Like you put voodoo layer X here, and then suddenly something is better, and then you train and throw a lot of data at it, and then it works. And really, we don't really know why certain things are working, but I'm very interested in it because then you can really make a targeted improvement. And this is what put me also in the position of thinking about quality, because I want to know why things are happening, and I'm not just satisfied with that something is magically working.
Okay, great. So your black box can be magic, or your black box can be voodoo. You mentioned quality. So what is important to you there?
What's really important is in the past, there was a huge focus on performance. So basically, you want to detect faces, and if you can detect them very well and on a very high accuracy, then it was seen as good. But it's like you cannot only game one metric. And I like this example of like if you have a competition that you have to build up the highest tower of Legos with the least amount of pieces, then when you stack the last piece on it, then you go to the side and hope that there's no wind, that it falls down. And so you also have to consider more metrics than just one. You also have to look on stability of this Lego tower, for example, but you also have to look on stability and robustness of the system itself. And you have to get like a profound and a broad understanding of how the system works. How does it react to noise? How does it react in the real world? What happens if you see new data? What happens in edge cases? And all this kind of stuff. Not only this one view on what happens on clean data, and then hopefully there is no pixel flipped, and then you completely fail.
Great. Thank you, Florens. So, I mean, I introduced you, and people can see you're the CEO of Neurocat. So your company is in that field. What does it do?
Yeah, basically in the beginning, we set our focus on AI quality because of our mathematical background, and quite quickly also because we are in an accelerator here in Berlin. We got contact to the Standardization Institute, and we were the first ones who initiated a AI quality standard, also on robustness. And this was a quite marketing tool for us to also get to customers that had the same need that we could satisfy. And so we now got over 25 consulting projects about the quality of the AI systems to develop, to analyze the threats of the use case, to develop a testing strategy, and also test methods such that you can evaluate the risk and also mitigate the risk. And with all this knowledge that we had over 4 years, we wanted to put this and bundle this into one software solution, because we see AI and ML development is more and more automized. Like Netflix deploys 100 times a day. The whole workflow of developing is highly automized. New data is coming in. So this must be automized. You cannot just consult on that. So we were not able to also further grow organically with also wanting to create a software. So we were seeking for an investment. And we were very happy that DSpace also joined us on our journey. because they are also very similar. They are also testing like sensor and hardware systems and simulating. And currently we are trying to bring this out, find the product market fit, and be very soon to commercialize it. And here we basically take all our knowledge that we had and automatically evaluate the AI systems on like different metrics, not only on performance, like mostly focusing on robustness, and also provide artifacts that help you to improve the robustness, but also to help you to improve the robustness, but also prove some cases of safety, like some safety claims that you save for pedestrians, that you save on the road or on certain conditions.
Okay, thank you. So you mentioned robustness, and you mentioned that you're building a product that automatically evaluates AI system. Who's your customer? Who do you think your customer is?
I believe our customers are from the deep machine learning developers to the certification institutes and the insurances, because basically with our focus on just concentrating on the metrics, we can bring continuous testing and test-driven development to machine learning and software engineering. This is a practice. No real software craftsman would ever write a software without test cases and testing against all the edge cases. And I find we also have to take all our learnings we had there and put this into our new development of this so-called software 2.0, this ML-driven development. So I believe we can bring a lot of value by providing the unit tests to the developers itself, and also for the regulations. If regulations may come, we can test against this. We can help prepare for getting a certificate, but also supporting the certifiers itself by having a tool that does all of this, and also helping to evaluate risk for insurance cases, because it's also a completely new topic. What is the risks involved? And only with this knowledge, you can figure out how expensive a insurance for this kind of system could be.
Could be. Okay, so I heard insurance. Before that, I heard regulation. Before that, I heard edge cases. I actually have a question for you, whether you could give an example or two of significant edge cases that you would be able to provide an evaluation for.
Yeah, here, I guess in the automotive domain, if I could name, like in an autonomous vehicle, you would try to perceive the camera. You get a camera feed and try to figure out, okay, where are the pedestrians, where are the cars, where is the road, all this kind of stuff. For these kind of tasks, AML system is used, and here there are certain edge cases involved. Basically, if you have a clean data set and there's no rain, there's no snow, there's no fog inside, how do you know how your system is behaving on this? What happens if certain objects are just slightly tilted? If a traffic sign is slightly tilted, we see huge performance drops when these scenarios happen. We are simulating this, so we are providing these corruptions, like this so-called corruptions that you can apply on the image and test against these cases. This can be seen as an edge case, but also adversarial examples itself. Maybe in the automotive industry, it's not that relevant because this is not safety, this is more a security topic. But if you have an upload filter, you could maybe try to manipulate a certain amount of pixels and calculate an image that will surpass the security check there. And there are like different amounts of use cases where you have to deal with edge cases. Also in the NLP domain, if you just flip two characters, maybe your system is not able to provide a right classification of your sentences anymore. So these corruptions represent themselves in different domains, like very differently.
Okay, so there's the connection to the robustness, right? So your edge cases are about situations where a system may no longer deliver the expected result because it's not robust enough, because a minor corruption, a minor irritation leads to an error. Okay, understood.
These, if I may add, these attacks. Also, if these attacks are not safety relevant for some cases, they still help you, because we can automatically calculate data points where your model will fail. And if you add these to your training set, you can also increase your robustness and also increase the robustness against fog and rain and so on, because this is only two sides of the same medal. So these artifacts are also what we are providing, such that you can integrate in your training and improve your robustness. Yeah.
Okay, understood. So I know that you're building this and that you're also preparing for a launch. So tell us briefly, where are you at the moment, and when can customers benefit from what you're doing?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, oh, no, our software is called aidkit, and currently, like we are building a SaaS solution. We took a lot of insights from the industry and from customer interviews to provide like good solutions. And basically, right now in this quarter, we are seeking for test users and test customers such that we can validate our business hypothesis and
Right, yes.
also find our product market fit. And so, by our plan in next quarter, we want to go commercial, but this
Okay.
quarter we want to fully concentrate on finding the product market fit and generate value to
Okay.
ML developers and possible certifiers or so on.
Okay, so one more follow-up question, so to speak. So I heard some of the potential customers. So is this insurance companies? Is this mobility companies that have a lot of edge cases? Is it AI startups?
Yeah, I mean, I believe the automotive sector or like the mobility sector itself, for them it's quite relevant, and like there must be a huge interest here, or there is a huge interest here because all these things that are getting deployed and are safety relevant. So somebody can really, if you create a damage, it's a very severe damage, and basically this is also our main target in the moment. But anything related to quality, like we want to be like the AI quality gate or the unit test for ML development, also for every developer that
Okay,
wants to be a craftsman or craftswoman.
great, thank you. Okay, understood. So there's some industries where this might work more readily or the need is higher at the moment, but principally you're thinking that your product will be integrated into the workflow everywhere.
Yes, yes. And this is also one of our main
Okay,
focus. So we want to be compatible in this workflow. We want to be
okay,
highly optimized. And we
okay,
want to, because all these analyses that we are providing are very complex and you need really an expert to understand them and to select them and so on. And we want to provide this intelligence that the hurdle is not that high, such that you can just enable quality into your company. And yeah, we are providing this intelligence basically highly automated and highly integratable. Yeah.
Thank you, Florence. I got one more question for you. This is whether you can speak about enhancing the training data to have more robust models.
Mhm.
And what artifacts or what corruptions are you actually using there? Is this synthetic data? What's going on?
Mhm. Yeah, this is basically synthetic data that we are using. Like these adversarial examples, we can basically like just take the model and calculate a perturbed image that like maximizes the failure of the model, and this you can integrate into your test set. Also, we are also had a publication. It's called the attack generator. So we don't believe that like because it's seen if you are robust against one attack, this doesn't mean that you're robust against the other attack. So there's an arms race between attack and defender, and we identified this, and we developed something that is called the attack generator, and this one just automatically creates an attack and searches the space. It not searches like not using like single attacks. It really searches the whole attack space. There are like trillions of attacks. I mean, it's ridiculous to think about this, but it's basically a generator that increases this. So these kind of synthetic data that help you to robustify, and also just synthetic data that simulates natural behavior, like sensor noise, like weather conditions, and like some like deformations of some traffic lights and so on. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Florence. So there's also another reason, so to speak. So one is we wanted to get to know you and also your company, and then another reason why we're speaking today is the Datalift Summit. So there's actually a chance to meet Florence live. There's a chance to learn more about Neurocat, and there's a chance really to dive deeper into the topic. So you're going to be talking about automatic risk evaluation of ML systems on the 23rd of June in Berlin. Can you give us a little preview?
Yes,
What
of
you're
course. And
Yeah.
I'm also very excited to give this presentation and to showcase this use case. Here, I mean, we touched the points already. I believe because of the highly automated workflow, it's also important to have highly automated evaluations on your system. And here I want to give an example on how you could integrate quality into your workflow, integrate risk evaluation, and also how to use the artifacts that are generated to mitigate the risk. So improve checks the quality and improves the quality and integrates this into your end automatic workflow. And this is basically what I will talk about, and I will take also use case from the automotive industry and also possibly from the natural language processing domain, and showcase how this can work, how this can be integrated, and how this can benefit you.
Wonderful. So come June, you will have launched your product. If people come to the Datalift Summit and they talk to you, do you think it's likely that Neurocat would actually be hiring?
Yes, I mean, this is definitely one point. Like, we want to grow. We want to, with the success of our product, want to take the next growth step. And if we are all believing that our product will be a success, then definitely there will be a great opportunity also of working for us.
What type of person works well for your company? What are you looking for?
So basically, like, this is a very wide variety. Like, people who want to engage with customers and want to do research, but also on the industry level and really do something applied. And also on the other hand, like software developers that are having a deeper mathematical understanding than the usual ML developer. So I don't look for people who just find that machine learning is just magic, and like I would expect like a certain understanding and also the aim for understanding why it's important to test it, and really has to an ambition and a motivation to provide a safe, innovative future.
Okay. More specifically, can you say something about, I don't know, the languages that your company use or particular tools that you're using?
Yeah. Yes, of course. Like, we are basically using a quite standard tech stack, like in Python. We are using TensorFlow and PyTorch. So because we have to be compatible, we also have to be compatible against all the machine learning frameworks. So bringing experience to the table will help us a lot. And yes, so basically this is from the research engineering side, the tech stack that is needed. If people want to go outside of machine learning itself and go more on the product engineering, then a deeper knowledge of all the cloud infrastructure and Kubernetes and Docker is required. For the research part, a slight understanding is helpful, definitely, but the main focus is on creating intellectual property into our software.
Thank you very much, Florens. So to kind of wrap this up, we've heard a little bit about where you're going with your product roadmap, also what you're going to be presenting at the Datalive Summit on the 23rd of June. Where do you think this topic is going? So, I mean, there's movement in the field. You said this. So insurers need models to be able to assess the risk and actually provide insurance in case something goes wrong. And one can clearly see that for the example of autonomous cars, you would need something like this. You're saying that we know that there is regulation coming from the European Commission, maybe also national parliaments in the United States and so on. So how do you see this field evolving over the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah. So also, like, I believe there's a high speed in involvement right now because like 5 years ago we were the only ones, and barely people knew about the problems the ML systems are having. And if you went to a conference, then it just anybody created a startup because he wants to optimize some workflow. Then just like a few years ago, or 2 to 3 years ago, people started about talking about quality. Now we see more and more competitors. So the speed is evolving, and also the papers that are published are not too much about the craziest new architecture anymore. It's more about robustness. It's getting a more hyper topic, explainability. And I believe if we want to have autonomous driving, it will be very important to bring this forward. And also in the regulation sense, the EU committed to get some regulations going. Right now, I guess the ML developer in a quite bad position here. because then everything is safety critical that uses ML. I hope that at least we can still also that we can provide innovation and not overpower the regulation side, but definitely quality itself, also without regulation, I find is always a good topic. If you can save some lives, if you can save some money, even as this is in every software engineering task, I believe a very good quality measure, if it's the classical or if it's a new one in the ML development.
Thank you, Florens. So thank you very much. So ladies and gentlemen, Florens Greßner, who right out of university launched his first startup, actually developed the product, co-developed the product, and is now the CEO of Neurocat, who will be speaking about risk evaluation of ML systems and automated risk evaluation to boot at the Datalive Summit in Berlin in June. Florens, thank you very much.
Hey, Chris, thank you very much for the opportunity. And I'm also looking very much forward to see you all on the Datalift Summit.
Thank you.